building a fizzer. Both wanna be right, loose side can't cut with one blade in a scissor. Are you willing to go?
In a giant sea of cool podcasts, finally comes a podcast that kicks the cool to the curb. Welcome to Kick the Cool, everyone. I'm your big little brother, Tone.
I'm your little brother, Wopsle.
And I'm your big sister, Shishi.
And this is the place that gives you the reviews you did not know you needed. What's up, my nerds?
What's up, nerds?
What's up, dorks?
Hey, Nerd City. How you doing?
We're just slinging insults now.
Nerd Nation. What up?
Okay. Good job, stupid. Oh, wait, is that too much?
Nothing I haven't heard before.
I did just call Wopsle, my little brother, stupid. But you know what's really stupid? No, I don't know. I have nothing. Wopsle, Wopsle, why don't you tell me something that's really stupid?
Turtles breathe out of their buttholes. Well, sorry.
That's what I thought.
They can. What? I'm not saying that they do. They have the ability to.
Well, hold on. If you can, you're gonna. At some point.
Both nostrils and buttholes they can breathe out of. That's pretty good. Okay, never mind. That's not
what if they
stupid
have
at all.
hemorrhoids?
Then I guess they're going to choose the
Wow,
nose.
we went there. Yeah. Luckily, I can still breathe through my nose. Let me tell you something, guys. Turtles breathing out of their buttholes. I think that's stupid. Okay, I agree with Wopsle. That's stupid. But you know what else is kind of stupid? Something's going on in Oklahoma City right now. The Oklahoma State Fair.
Great State Fair of Oklahoma.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the fair? Like, especially, I don't know. What do you guys think about the fair?
There's something new is deep fried this year, right? Like, what's the next deep fried thing at the State Fair? Something.
Right, Sharpies.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it's getting wild. They're running out of things to fry.
It was like they had deep fried, like pickle. Okay, well, yeah, that's expected. Then an Oreo. That's pretty far out there. But then last time I was there, they had deep fried Coca-Cola.
Right, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, how do they? Can somebody explain to me how that works? I've always wondered, and I haven't been to the fair in so long that I've never even, had the opportunity to try it. So can somebody explain that to me? How do they do that? What?
Right.
I mean, is it encased in something?
Here's the funny part is the only people working those booths are actual wizards. So
Right.
It's like magical in some way.
It's the only magic that truly exists.
Yes. It's the deep frying methods at the State Fair.
It's a wizardry.
It's an actual wizard, yeah.
So I think that reminds me of, so they're little bitty rooms with all of their stuff around. Doesn't that remind you of like in Minecraft when you build yourself a library, just a tiny little library so you can do all of your tricks in there? I don't even do that stuff, but that's just kind of what it reminds me of. They went to the spot and built their little conjuring place.
Yes.
Right.
And then they go in there and deep fry things.
And deep fry the crazy things that should never be fried.
Now, I've never even eaten anything at the State Fair in my life. So I kind of I'm really missing out, I think, right?
Are you serious right now, or is this funny?
I've never, no, it's straight up. I've never eaten anything at the fair.
Well,
And I've seen a lot of things. Oh boy, I've
That's
seen
wild,
some of those
dude.
things.
that is wild because
through.
I know you've been to the fair. What about a funnel cake?
It was like 20 years ago, when I went to the fair. So no, and I did have a funnel cake at the Kolachi Carnival one time, but I've not ever been to the fair and had food. Now I did see when I was at the fair a thing that would have made me, if I did have food in my stomach, would have made me instantly not have food in my stomach anymore. And that was when that motorcycle that drives around in the globe,
In
Oh,
the circle.
right?
Yeah.
That is wild. But, we're kind of not talking about that. We're talking about, I think, first of all, the food. Now, so it's frying things. What else are they doing? They got corn dogs. They have all the regular foods, right? Like hot dogs and corn dogs.
You know, it's funny. They have everything on a stick. You can get like chicken on a stick. So it's like a chicken strip on a stick, or you can get like a jalapeno on a stick. You can definitely also get a corn dog on a stick. Mm-hmm. So I was always wondered, like, is that going to be like, does that mean 2 sticks? Are we going to have like a horizontal stick coming in from the side? Like, how do you intend to put my corn dog onto a stick? And
I like the 90 degree. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I never thought about that. That is because I'm just thinking that's my favorite meal. If I'm prepared to slap down $7 for a wiener with a little breading on it, that's good because then they just they give you that line of mustard on it and you're just walking around with mustard. You know, and it's just easy. Yeah, I love it. It's not like a funnel cake where you have to sit down and balance the paper plate on your lap and kind of pull pieces off and the wind's blowing your powdered sugar into someone's eyes and off of your plate.
Happens all the time.
In Oklahoma, you have to watch the wind. So
the nurse's tent is always just people with powdered sugar injuries, just like waiting in line.
Yeah,
they don't actually have any medical products that they help people with.
Mm-hmm. I think it's
all eye drops. It's just a big old thing of eye drops.
You just you get in line, you walk up and tilt your head back. They open the spigot and close it, and you leave. That's it. And heat stroke.
I don't know why that sounds like a Simpsons moment.
So
I don't know why.
That works for heat stroke too. I just realized because you're going you can open your mouth or you can open your eyes and you can
they say heat stroke or powdered sugar, and they just position you like 3 inches off the spigot. Either way, both are taken care of.
Oh man,
it's genius.
I love that. Somebody get on that. That's a genius idea.
Yeah, it is. Like so many of them are around here.
Yeah.
And have so many of them are at the state fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A lot of good decisions at the state fair. A lot of people making good decisions at that place. I tried to say that with a straight voice, but I couldn't help but cackle. Because guess what, folks? I'm gonna tell you right now. There's a lot of weird stuff going on at the state fair, okay? And even though it's Oklahoma, which probably is a little tame for most people, like compared to the big cities. But I think still everyone could agree there's some crazy stuff going on at the state fair. But let's move on and look at our reviews for this week. What were you thinking about reviewing first?
Well, I appreciate you wanting to move on, but I'm going to suggest we don't move on because my wife, she has a lot of experience at the state fair. She used to work a booth there for many, many years. And because we just started the Oklahoma State Fair on here, she suggested our topic be something about the state fair. And I feel like we have so much to talk about. Since we start with a listener suggestion, let's let her suggestion of the state fair just at least become the next review. And if you guys have something to add too, I think that there's enough hoopla around the state fair that we could probably cover a lot of
so
things.
much.
Good
so
call.
Much.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the first thing I want to bring up, I really want to review is I feel like one of the lesser known things. Everybody knows the food. Everyone knows you're going to deep fry somebody's number 2 pencil this time. But there are these shows that happen there. Like one time I saw a guy in a penguin suit diving off of like a 60-foot thing in the middle of the state fair. So there's just like funnel cakes and like strollers with like, cured ham in it for some reason. And then this guy is also jumping off, diving into a kiddie pool from 60 foot in the air. Do you guys know any of these shows are happening? Do you remember ever like watching like a happening at the fair?
Well, I went to went to the fair with my grandma a lot. Grandma Jerry. I don't know if Tony even remembers her. She died when I was 7. So, but our birthdays were very close together. So she would take me to the fair for our birthdays. And we did Disney on Ice. I remember doing Disney on Ice, and I remember, So, but that's really the only show I've gone to, and that was when I was little bitty. So,
Tony, do you remember any of these shows happening? Do you remember any, like, even like the Wild West one they'll do sometimes where they're like, rooting and tooting and shooting?
Yeah, I remember them rooting. I remember a whole lot of tooting. And
that was on the car ride home.
That's right. Because of all those corn dogs on sticks.
Right.
Well, the shows aspect. So here's why I don't see shows, because I don't plan to go. I go to the fair. Well, this was, a long time ago, but I would go to the fair thinking if something happens, I'll go see it while I'm there. Like, I'm not going to plan to go because I have to work and just work around it, But then when I'm at the fair and somebody's like, oh, at 2 p.m., they're going to have a gunfight clear on the other side of the fairgrounds. And I'm like, F that S, because no, I'm not walking over there in 100-degree weather. I did not wear, the proper clothing for that. I'm way too covered up for that.
Yeah, and you're like, how big of stars are these actors that are in the gunfight?
Right.
The Oklahoma
Is Brad
State
Pitt
Fair?
in there? I'm not even sure he would be able to draw me across the entire fairground.
Across the state fair?
No.
Well, listen, they do like science shows. We've done a lot of science shows with our kids where they'll be like, making that elephant toothpaste up in front of people. So it's like a crazy scientist guy doing like little explosions. And I think there's a lot more maybe than people realize is what I'm coming to understand.
I think you have to look ahead and look at the list of things to do instead of just showing up, right? Don't you think you have to plan?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta plan your attack, right? And now, as far as the shows, there's, of course, I saw that they're also doing Disney on Ice. And I think, Wopsle, you said you've seen that before. Is that right?
Yeah, we've done that very recently. And one of the fun things about the way that at least they're doing it now is it's not just like Frozen or Toy Story. It's everything Disney. So you've got Dory and Nemo are out there. You've got the little dinosaur. You've got every different princess possible. And they're like firing stuff and doing it's pretty legit. It's pretty good.
I'm kind of wondering why did they decide it would be a good idea to put mascot costumes on ice skaters? Like, that is so awkward to watch them. I've seen it on seen things on TV. I've never seen it in person since I was a grown up, but it's like, it seems so hard to skate in those things. And it's just, who thought that was a good idea? Why do we need them to be skating? Why do we need the ice? Why do we need Ardora and Diego to skate? That's what I don't get.
Well, I think that someone was like, okay, what are we gonna do here? Well, let's have the Disney people come out. We'll have Mickey and Minnie, and we'll go through all of the Disney properties, and everybody's like, cool, but it's not enough, right? What else can we do?
What are they going to do? Like, stand there, wave? They got to do something.
Stand there and wave. Yeah.
How about a review? How about a show with a song and dance and top hats and canes? Yada 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 da 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 da.
Like a vaudeville.
Right.
Disney vaudeville.
Disney vaudeville. That would make way more sense to me.
In parentheses, the subtitle is absolutely no skating.
Yeah, it would have to be at this point. Disney on, what would they just stage? Oh yeah, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Disney on
crack.
Disney.
That would be more
right
interesting.
Here.
Disney on. Period.
Well, I got one more story. So I was talking to some friends because I love the shows. Like, that might be my favorite thing about it. There's a a group of Star Trek people that fight, like Klingons that fight each other. That's so cool.
Oh.
I was telling you guys before we started recording, there's a guy that just has a ladder. It's like a 10-foot ladder, and he just like climbs up and down it, just like in space. And then he'll get up on top of it and like kind of walk on it like stilts. It's just a dude. I'm not even sure if he's actually paid by the fair or if he just like brought his own ladder.
Right.
Okay, I have a clarifying question. You said both times you talked about this, you said he's on a ladder in space. What do you mean by in space?
Yeah, in space, like just taking up some space here on Earth.
Yes, like we all are, you know? No,
Right.
I mean, like, it's like if you had a 10-foot just straight ladder, not an A-frame, like just a ladder, you would like put it up against a wall and climb it.
Oh, he's
But he's
balancing. Okay.
Just balancing. Yeah,
I
that's
was
why
like,
it's something. It's not
is
just a
there-
guy like.
I thought the guy was taking the ladder and sticking it up against the wall and climbing up it and climbing back down. And you were very impressed by that.
I visualized it, being in the ground, stuck in the ground and stable.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and then I was like, but he said in space, so I wonder if there are planets hanging down, and it's like he's supposed to be in space.
He's
There's
up in
a
there.
star backdrop, but no, he's balancing on this ladder.
Yeah, no, he just keeps changing light bulbs, and he's just like, no one else is watching the show, and I'm just following around the park. As he just climbs this ladder.
It's the best free
and takes down
entertainment.
cobwebs. It's
Why does nobody else know about this guy?
But can he? Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Why he got that job is because he couldn't skate very well, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, dude. Can you got anything else you could work on? Hey, go home and practice climbing a ladder. How about that?"
yeah. All right. Well, I hope people will share with us maybe, or share with the world some of the shows they're seeing, because I think there's more to that than people are realizing. So some Disney on Ice, some.
Yeah.
I had a friend that said that they went to the fair and saw bunnies doing tricks like dogs would, like catching frisbees or like jumping through hoops, but it was rabbits. And then at the end, they sold you the rabbit. And so she paid $40 to buy a trick rabbit from the fair.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
So there's
That's
these-
great.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of shows out there, but we're not reviewing each individual show. We're not reviewing the penguin guy or the maintenance guy. But let's review like shows and the idea of shows. And so I guess Shishi, you're up first. What do you rate the State Fair shows?
I rate State Fair shows 5 out of 6 shooter.
Nice. That's good.
Don't know.
Should
I
I truncated quicker? But no, I get it. But I was like, but
I did that
was
on
great.
purpose. Should I do a different one?
Oh, I
no,
love
it
it.
was,
Please don't.
great.
Okay.
No, please don't. Okay, Tone, what do you rate State Fair shows?
I'm gonna rate State Fair shows 75 out of 102 fried Sharpies. 75 out of 102 fried Sharpies.
Okay. Rating the show is based on the food. Okay, I like
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
because it's all connected.
Well, I didn't see this coming, but I'm going to have to rate State Fair shows Lloyd the Janitor. Because apparently he's my favorite. He's my favorite
It's
show.
your favorite show. Man.
I thought you were gonna bring up something about hemorrhoids, and then I was like, "Oh no, I was scared." All right, well let's move on to our next topic. Shishi, what do you have for us today, ma'am?
Well, since we're going with the fair theme, I thought, another big aspect of the state fair is all of the bands that come to play at the state fair. All the musical, not just the little shows, like the stage shows and the ice shows, but we have actual headlining bands coming to the state
Right.
fair. So, Tony, what do you think of that? Do you know any?
I heard that this year Jackal is going to be on the Oklahoma State Fair stage.
Jackal!
I want, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, buddy.
That was real excitement, guys. Real excitement. Didn't even know they were still
You
together.
can't even buy that. You could not Wow. And we have to all buy new headphones and microphones now because Sherry broke them.
Sorry.
Now I don't remember Jackal, but this press release from the state fair says equal parts hard rock, heavy metal, and southern rock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And-
okay.
But
Did
then
you-
it says, but that they brought rock and roll back down to earth.
Oh.
So I'm pretty intrigued by these guys. What did they do?
I can't remember any of their song titles off the top of my head. Oh, I see the sun shining down on me. So, Down on Me.
I kind of remember.
That's
that,
one of
yeah.
them. Didn't they do something?
Didn't they do that song, When Will It Rain?
Yes, they did When
Can't
Will It
stand the
Rain?
heat from the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just
This
used
one
to.
says, and most notably, the lumberjack. Can you guys give me a couple of bars of the lumberjack?
Oh, that I know that song, but I can't remember how it goes.
The lumberjack, he's a mighty fine guy. Hey, ho, hey.
See, that sounds like heavy metal, but like brought back down to earth.
Down to
I
earth.
brought it down to earth.
That's heavy metal.
Yeah.
I took a page out of Jackal's book and I brought it back down to earth.
All right. Well, I feel like I derailed this topic to just, and now we have to review Jackal. So let's move on.
Right.
Wobsle, what do you think about the bands that come to the state fair?
You know, I think some people would use the term like has been with a little. I mean, sometimes they're one hit wonders.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you, I stood and watched Boys to Men perform.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Which, granted, now it was 20 years after you would have wanted to see them perform, but it was great. It was awesome, and they were so good. So, you know, and they're certainly not a one-hit wonder. So, so that's great. There's always a bunch of country bands there. And the thing about country bands, it's just some guy's name, and I don't know it enough. I never know. It's like, this guy could be the hottest dude right now, and
Yeah.
he might be from
Super.
84. Like, I have no idea. Yeah.
Could be super famous. Or he might be a washed up guy that had one song in 1986.
Are you talking about,
Yeah.
well, somebody said that Sawyer Brown was there. Is that
Yeah, Sawyer
one of
Brown.
those? But I honestly don't think that's his name. I think that's the band's name, but I could see where you might think that was a person's name.
Could it be that it's a play on, in a very Fred Durst kind of way, it's a play on bungholes?
The starfish principle.
The starfish, Sawyer Brown.
Don't
Now that you bring that up, he does
think
play the
so.
state fair every year. So you kind of got that
Uh-huh.
connection there, you know?
so
the
he
state
knows
fair,
what it's all
The
about.
Sawyer Brown. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Man, I would so play a gig there if they would give me free food. Like if that was the only payment I was going to get, I would so do it because, oh man,
But
I just
you-
get one of everything. I'll take one of everything.
How do you know? You've never had fair food, so you don't know if it's good or not.
Well, the thing is, there's so much, people
Variety.
talk so much about it.
Oh,
And
there's
there's
buzz.
so much variety.
Mhm.
So yeah, the buzz plus the variety, it's gotta be fascinating. Even if it tastes like crap, you know, I'm gonna get there and something fried is going to taste delicious. And that's the main thing.
Well,
And now I'm back to food. It seems
I'm
like
sorry.
I can only talk about food.
I'm just
on this
derailing my
podcast.
own topic. And I was thinking about local bands. A lot of times will play the fair, you know, at like off times, like not the headliners, open for the headliners or whatever. So you guys have both been in bands that were kind of busy around this area, right? So did you guys
Yeah.
ever play at the fair?
Oh, yeah.
Wopsle, didn't you play at the fair one year?
I never played at the Oklahoma State Fair. I did play at Pioneer Days in Okemah, Oklahoma. So, you know, the prestige of that was a little lower.
I played at the festival in McLeod, so I'm even lower down the rung. Okay, so none of us have had that prestige. Okay.
And of course, I headlined the gospel stage at the Kolache Festival a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
times.
Yep.
And so that was
Pretty prestigious.
There would be like a dozen people sometimes at that. Like we
Wow.
worked double digits. Yeah, it was great.
You guys hit double digits. Wow.
We did, yeah.
I can't believe it.
Every year, there's also one, again, 20 year after their prime, like kind of R&B artist. Like MC Hammer is there, or like this year, Genuine is there. So
Right.
if you're listening to this before September 24th, you still have time to plan to go see Genuine. Which I feel like that'd be a pretty good show.
Yeah,
Really?
totally.
Yeah.
What makes you think that, Wopsle?
Well, because like we're just sitting there and then they would say, I'm just a bachelor, baby. And I'd be like, I'm in high school. Right this second. It's an actual time traveling mechanism. I'm in high school and it'd be so fun.
Do you feel like that's the main reason you would go to see an older band? Like, I think that there's a reason that bands got famous and popular, even if they're not still popular, they still have that same, they still have the same songs and the same chops, the same creativity. So they're still good. They're just not popular. I think that we get those things mixed up a lot. So, but I think one big reason to see a band that you grew up with is the nostalgia. That's a good reason to go to the fair too, in general, I think. Because
that is true. I only do need to disagree with one thing you said, though, is you said that they're still good. They're just not popular.
Well,
that is not always true. They are not always still good.
It's
fact,
not always true.
Oftentimes you're like, oh no, they are not good anymore. They've lost it. And they look like they've lost it and they sound like they've lost it. So it can be sad sometimes.
Well, I was just under the assumption, because I haven't gone to the fair a lot and I don't get to see a lot of live music in general, that they wouldn't be still trying to do it if they weren't good. But that's not the case. They're still doing it. Even the ones that can't anymore, they're still doing it.
That's my experience.
Very
yes.
sad. That is sad. Sawyer Brown, you're so disappointing. Why? Just give it up.
Sawyer Brown.
Well, we could, instead of going with the old guys, we could go with the Journey tribute band that's going to be playing. Tony told us about that. So I'm kind of excited about that. As everybody knows, I'm kind of a Journey super fan. And,
as we have illustrated on this podcast, for sure.
Yeah, that's on September 19th. So if you want to make it to see Resurrection, that's happening.
Yeah, I don't plan. I won't go that.
Wait, that's after this podcast comes out.
Oh. Never mind. Whoops.
Now, let me ask a question. Resurrection, where do we stand on that as a band name of a cover band for Journey?
Of people who are still alive. That was the weird thing to me. Yeah, that if you're doing like a band that doesn't perform anymore, if you're covering, like, I don't know, let's see who's good. All I can think of are people like Aerosmith and they're still going. I don't know. If you're the Beatles, like if you're a Beatles cover band, you could call yourself Resurrection.
Funny you mentioned that, because a Beatles cover band is actually playing this year's state fair.
But they're not called Resurrection, are they?
They're definitely not called Resurrection.
Aren't they called 1969 or
1964?
something? Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere around there, 64, 69.
Rough.
Beatlemania Live is what this is. Beatlemania Live.
There is a cover band called 1964, but they're not the ones that are going to be there. Okay, Beatlemania.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, you're a little preemptive with the Resurrection title on a band that is still releasing albums currently.
Yes.
It's like...
I'm wondering if
the band can show up.
I'm wondering if, because Journey did take a very long hiatus while they were looking for a new lead singer, they really weren't in the scene. So maybe this band started when they were just broken up. And so they were like, oh, we're going to resurrect Journey. And now they're stuck with it.
And now they look silly.
Now they're the ones that look
to help out.
Yes. Okay. Well, hey, let's rate.
Well, I did have one other thing I wanted to mention. I'm looking at the website for the Oklahoma State Fair, and my first thought is, can we ever get away from using that O and that K with an exclamation point. Can we ever get away from that? Because everybody makes fun of it all the time.
So we're
that
just
we're saying, "Oh, we're okay, yay!"
yeah.
So
no, we can't.
gotta-
I'm sorry.
we've got to get away from that. The other thing we've got to get away from is this: these people playing on September 21st at 7:30 p.m. Gary Lewis and the Playboys, and here's what they say about Gary Lewis and the Playboys. It was the summer of 1964 when Gary Lewis and the Playboys were discovered by producer Snuff Garrett.
Oh gosh.
The name of the producer is Snuff Garrett. I just wanted to make sure and get the name Snuff Garrett into our podcast. It was crucial for me to do that.
Okay.
Hey, Snuff. What's up, Snuff?
All right.
Snuff
Well,
Garrett.
is it okay if we rate it now? Or do you want to bring up another obscure weird name? We can do that. I'll wait.
I have a bunch of them. No,
Okay, so Tony, what do you rate fair bands?
fair bands. Well, I mean, to understand fair bands, you've got to understand unfair bands.
I know, I hate the way I
The
phrase
ones
that.
that aren't fair at all.
No, I'm glad now, I guess.
So that's what, yeah, I'm going to rate it 7 out of 10 unfair bands.
Okay. All right, Wopsle, what do you rate state fair bands?
I hope I'm not stealing yours, but what you did with Jackal is exactly what the state fair brings to us every single year with their bands. So I'm going to rate the state fair bands 7 out of 10. Are they still alive?
Yeah, that's a good rating.
What?
I think that wins the rating of the whole podcast. That's
Right.
perfect.
It's accurate, at least. And
It's-
we're nothing if not accurate.
It's very accurate.
So accurate. Wow.
I'm going to rate state fair bands 1964 or 69.
All right. Well, guys, well done on that topic. Now we do have to keep the lights on, as we like to say. And in order to keep the lights on, we got to go to our sponsor. Here's our 5-star review. Here we go.
Let's go!
5 stars.
When you're left with a stain, you're so damn fed up that you gotta complain and write a letter. You'll feel better.
All right, this episode is brought to you by a very special part of all carnivals and fairs, and there's one particular ride at all of these things that is, it's a big deal, and we're brought to you this week by squirrel cages. Do you guys know what squirrel cages are?
Is that something that you would catch a squirrel in?
I'm thinking, yeah, like a
Maybe.
like a trap.
Maybe you could.
Is that what you keep your pet squirrel in?
It would make for really good TV once you got that squirrel in that cage and you start going on the merry-go-round.
On the ride.
Is that, I know
So-
what it is. It's where, like, I'm thinking of the zipper, but
Zipper.
but instead of people inside, it's just open and it'll like scrape the squirrels out of the tree as it goes by. That's what I'm visualizing.
Okay.
Because the one at the Kolache Festival is always right underneath a big tree.
Up in those
That's
trees.
right.
It definitely is.
It is.
And you can't see the arm
That's
motions
great.
I'm making, but just imagine me making those squirrel catching arm motions.
Oh, right.
Is that what it is?
Hey, you look like you're catching imaginary squirrels. That's exactly what you look like.
That's close. I think you're talking about the squirrel scooper. So you're
that's the
close, but I
oh.
think that's
Yes.
the squirrel scooper. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they did not give us any money, so we better cut that
Oh,
out.
cut it.
We are
cut it out.
talking about squirrel cages, which are also called caged Ferris wheel.
Yes,
I've heard that term,
the
the
caged
caged
Ferris
Ferris
wheel.
wheel.
Mhm.
The great thing about the caged Ferris wheel, of course, is that you can totally kill yourself. You can flip it whenever you want, and you can really get some nastiness going.
Yeah, you can. And I have a story. Can I tell my story?
Oh,
Okay.
I would love to hear it.
Is it favorable to squirrel cages?
Well, I don't know. You'll be
certainly
the
not.
judge
Go
of that. You can be the judge of that. Okay. So there was a boy I liked. His name was Billy. And we were all in a friend group. And luckily, we were, the next two in line. And so I got to ride with this boy I liked. Well, we step in the cage, and the carny looked at me, gave me a weird look, and he just slammed that bar down so hard that it hurt our legs. And I was like, ow. And he did it again. And so whenever he went to close the door, I turned to the guy I liked, and I turned to Billy and said, "What a butthole." And he said, the carny heard me and said, "Butthole, huh?" And he took the cage and spun it so fast and it probably went around 20 times. And we were just stuck in there. And he spun this cage as fast as he could. And then we were on the ride, and as soon as we got off, the boy I liked, Billy, had to go behind a bush and vomit. And I'm just thinking that was all my fault. I was fine. So that's my
the squirrel
story.
cages.
So needless to say, we did not get together that day. So squirrel cages gets an A from me. They get 5 stars from me. The carny, no. Yeah. Squirrel cages,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, we can't talk bad about our sponsors. We would never do that. All right, well, that's going to be it. Thank you, squirrel cages.
Thank you, squirrel cages. Everybody vomits.
It's your kind when you're left with a stain. You're so damn fed up that you gotta complain. Write a letter. You'll feel better.
All right, well, let's get into our final topic of the day. We were just talking about squirrel cages, had the zipper and the caged Ferris wheel, and those are all rides that you find typically at carnivals and at fairs. This last thing the thing I want to review today is fair rides and games. So one of my favorite things is the games. Wopsle, what do you think about fair rides and games?
Gravitron spinning around, making me want to puke. Because it was high school and I smoked half a cigarette, and that meant I was very dizzy.
So you smoked that cigarette. You didn't need to get on the Gravitron. You were already good.
That's right.
And let's be clear, I was probably actually just near somebody. Like I was in the car with somebody, because I wasn't really much of a cigarette smoker. But I got Gravitron spinning around, and I loved it. And I would give it all again to go back and experience that again.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
Shishi, what about you?
Well, when you talk about rides, I love all rides. Like I'll ride pretty much anything. Now it's a little harder now that I'm older. It's like my equilibrium is not the same as it was when I was 15.
Right.
But I want to ride roller coasters all day, every day. Now the Midway, the games, I just steer clear of those things. They're not fun to me because they're all rigged and they're all, so expensive, and I've lost, $50 on games in one go. So, I mean, It's like they get you in there and they're like, oh, if you just try one more time, you can win it all. And you're just like giving them dollars. So, I avoid those things. Once I got wise, I avoid those.
Yeah. I mean, to me, there's nothing better than, I don't know if anyone else had these, but at the Kolache Festival in our hometown, the ducks that would have a number on the
Oh,
bottom.
yes.
I was so all
Yes,
about
I
that.
remember you
And
being all about that.
Yeah, I was in, and I remember looking up and going, "Oh, let's look at the presents that you get, like the rewards." And I saw this magic set up on the top shelf,
Ooh.
and I was like,
Ooh.
"I'm gonna get it." And I was like, "Mom, I'm gonna get a magic set. It's gonna be amazing. Oh wow!" And then I turned around and I paid the man like $3 and took a chick out of the tank. And it looked at the bottom and it said, "You're a winner." And he handed me like a straw.
Yes.
I was like, "What do I do with this straw?" And he said, "Well, you buy 1,000 of them and you trade them up for that magic set." Great.
Oh man. That's it, isn't it? That's pretty much a midway game, even for children. You know, that's what I was gonna say. It's better for the kids' games. Like kids are kind of happy with whatever
Totally.
they get, and for the most part, except you apparently. But but they're easier. You know, you get tangible results. Like if you pick a duck and it says you're a winner, you actually get something. It's not like an adult game where you're throwing a ring at a bottle and you don't get anything. You know, because they're all crooked or whatever. So, but now I'm taking it back. I was going to say that, but I'm taking it back because apparently I was wrong. Children's games are also really, just sucker bait. So, and who's a bigger
Right.
sucker than a child?
Yeah, you know, the fair has those ones that'll be like a race, like the water gun race at the state fair, to where there's like 10 water guns and you have to shoot the target and your horse
Oh,
goes.
yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah, yeah.
But I always feel so bad because if you're there at the wrong time of day, there'll be one kid that wants to play it and no one else does. And so the person's on the mic like, "Come on, we could use one more. Anybody come on up." And then
Yeah.
nobody wants to. So
And
this
that
poor,
kid's just
sad one
standing
kid is just racing, not even racing, just like just going. And yeah, I always feel
Poor
bad
kid.
about that.
Yeah.
Man, because I think they give you the better prize based on the number of racers too, right? And so if you're the only racer, they're like, "Here's a straw, kid. Good luck with that."
Enjoy your straw.
Hey, so I'm thinking about in the 80s, the popular winning or gift items were roach clips with the feathers.
Oh.
And girls would wear those
I
in their
remember
hair.
those.
We didn't know what they were for. We were 13.
Right.
Yes.
And also they had these little painted mirrors, or all different sizes of mirrors that were painted. And I'm thinking now that the mirrors were probably used for drugs also. And so as a 13-year-old, I was just loving all of this drug paraphernalia that I had no idea about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. and
You don't see
know,
roach
you
clips
kinda think-
in the fair anymore. So
No. You kind of think when you go in there, as whether you're an adult or a kid, I think there's an expectation that everything they sell here is going to be cool for kids.
yes,
Because this is all about children, this whole thing. And so, and then they're selling stuff like pipes and bongs and you're like, what?
Yeah. I think that kind of speaks to, like, you have, different socioeconomic levels mixing at the fair, and you have different value systems
Right.
mixing at the fair. I mean, it's just like every kind of person you can imagine is at the fair. So you can't always, it's like Vegas. Maybe you don't want to take your kids every time, or you need to stay away from
Right.
certain areas.
Right.
I'm thinking of a Venn diagram whenever they were coming up with the prizes of things appropriate for kids and things useful for drugs. And they found a little
Right.
overlap there.
Yeah.
But then over time, they just kept on pushing those circles closer and closer together to where eventually they were like, if it's good for drugs, it's good for kids. Like,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
a 1-to-1.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
but I do think they've come back from that now and been like, wait a minute, maybe stuffed animals is fine too.
Yeah.
Right.
You can hide your weed in there.
Okay, right. Yeah. Which I'm sure some have, yeah.
Man, I remember those mirrors though. I remember those
Oh,
mirrors.
do you?
They were
Oh, okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had one that was ZZ Top, their album Eliminator, I think is what it was.
Yeah. The one with she's got legs and all of those things, or no?
Maybe
the
that
the one after that.
Maybe. Yeah, but it was a hoot.
Yeah, and ZZ Top is a reference to drugs, so it all fits together.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's rolling papers. Brands of rolling
okay.
papers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a ton of Michael Jordan ones of those, which
so different era.
I don't think we're necessarily, maybe not as much about the drugs, but it's funny is I remember specifically, I got these 3 Michael Jordan little mirrors one time, and it's just funny, like they just gave some 11-year-old kid, hey, here's some just super breakable glass to ride the zipper with a couple times around.
Oh God!
Like I just had these very sharp mirrors with me all night. That seems crazy.
I know. I was running around getting silly out there, and then the whole time I was carrying this mirror around.
Yeah. There's like hoses going
Somehow
across the street and ditches and all manner of things to trip on and hurt myself, even if I didn't have mirrors.
Hey, can I bring
you
it?
weren't on drugs.
Michael Jordan was a huge drug addict. I don't know if you knew that. So.
Oh wow. Wow.
So I would like to bring it back around to the rides, if we could. We know Michael's favorite ride. Sorry, we know Wopsel's favorite ride. What is your favorite ride?
I've never ridden rides at a fair. I've only ridden rides at a Disneyland, Frontier City, places like that. I've never in my life ridden a fair ride.
Okay.
So I don't know, but here's the thing.
They're the same.
No. I did ride one. It was the one Wopsle was talking about where the bottom falls out.
Oh, the Gravitron.
Mm-hmm.
The Gravitron. Mm-hmm. That's the only one I've ever ridden, and I tell you what, I love it. I just could get in that thing and for an 8-hour day, just clock in and just go in there and over. I could do it all day long.
Hey,
I
Ralph.
absolutely love it, but
punch your card.
I have to scream, right? Right. But I have to scream or let loose somehow, or else the G forces get me. So,
well, I kind of feel like we're since you and I haven't been to the fair in a long time, we're kind of drawing from other rides that we've been on at other events. I think it crosses over though, because it's basically the same carnival that you might see at the Kolache Festival, or maybe a bigger version. So, but I don't really like the rides that just go around and around in a circle really fast, like the Gravitron. I don't know. It's, I don't know. I like the ones that go in a circle as long as there's some, like the Tilt-A-Whirl. I really love the Tilt-A-Whirl. That's one of my favorites because you are crammed in there with 5 or 6 of your best friends or your family members, and you guys are just yanking on that wheel, working as a team, and you're getting that thrill of whoosh, just every once in a while you get a really good whoo. You get those G's.
I love it.
But as far as I do like the swings when you go around in a circle on the swings, because those are kind of slower and they're way up high, and I love being way up high. So, yeah,
I can't do those either. I know no one in the history of time has died from those, but I'm just like, these seats could fall off of here any minute. That's how I feel.
But one thing I love about them is that they're blasting like hard rock the whole time, I just love them because you're just up there enjoying the air. And, hey, I've got to say this. All right. So when Tony and I were kids, and that means Wop wasn't born yet, we went to the fair, and Mom convinced Tony to get on the Ferris wheel, and he was really afraid of heights. And so, Tony, you remember this, I'm sure, because your way of coping on the Ferris wheel was to sing that Steve Miller song, I'm gonna fly like an eagle to the sea. And you were just a little thing. And I just always love that story because you were coping and singing Steve Miller.
Right.
And it was so cute.
I remember singing that too. I don't know how old I was, but I remember singing that to Mom and being like, I guess that Mom said something like, well, it's like you're flying. Don't you? You know, it'll be great.
Yeah.
And
And
then here I come in singing Steve Miller Band like a boss. All right. Well, let's rate this puppy. Let's rate it. Wopsle, what do you rate? State Fair, what is it? Rides and games. Yeah.
Oh man, we talked about games kind of more, but I was really thinking rides. So, yeah, I'm gonna rate rides 3 hours, which of course is the time it takes to set up the entirety of the zipper somehow that then we spin around and ride on.
oh my gosh.
It should take longer than that, but apparently it doesn't. So
Wow.
You go up to the carny. And you're like, look, could you just make it a 5-hour job, please? Just make me feel better about what we're doing here.
stretch and tighten it a little bit more.
Right. Just do a once over. Just one more. Add a once over to your regular routine. Just tighten up every one and we'll be all right.
It will be all right.
Shishi, what do you rate? State Fair of Oklahoma I keep saying prizes, but it's rides and games.
I'm going to rate, since we are combining rides and games, I would have to rate State Fair rides and games never enough and way too much. Because the rides never last long enough and they spend way too much money on the games. So that's my
I
explanation.
feel like we should pitch that for the theme of the Oklahoma State Fair for next year. The tagline.
Never enough and way too much.
And all way too much.
That's great. Well, I am going to rate State Fair rides and games. I'm going to go with 10 trips around the inside of a globe on a motorcycle. That's 10 out of 11, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Have you really done that?
No, there's at the State Fair, I've seen them twice where there's a globe and there's a person riding a motorcycle inside of it.
Yeah. And when you said that earlier, that it would make you throw up, I thought that maybe they had figured it out where you could do it as a civilian.
Oh, right.
No,
No,
dang.
not
I'm
yet.
so disappointed. I was going to be on that.
Bezos is working on it.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to be it for us this week.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Amy, for suggesting a topic that we spun into the whole thing this time. But if you have a topic you would like us to review like Amy did, please hit us on social media or send that to reviews@kick.cool.
And we also want to thank the band Bugs for letting us use the song Reviews as our theme song. Please go to the Facebook page and like that and give them a little comment. Get a little personal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking that Bugs didn't realize we were going to last 2 years when they agreed to that. But it's not like we're making any monies to give them. So,
Yes.
Except for squirrel cages, I think that we are really going to break even with squirrel cages as our 5-star review this time. Our sponsorship by them. Yeah, that's going to
think
put us
you're right,
over the
Sue.
edge. I want to invite everyone to come back to social media. We were gone for a while, so our pages kind of slowed down, but we're back, you guys.
All right. Until next week, I'm Tone.
Well,
I'm She.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Oh.
When you left me to say you're so damn fed up that you've gotta complain. Write a letter. You'll feel better.
Okay, cool.